Can we turn back the night? Feels like I'm caught up in a trance. Can't come down all night. The city never stood a chance. With you by my side, it's all ours. So don't second guess. Let down your guard. Just take a chance. I feel the hours ticking down. Wish I could turn it all around, but in my mind we're frozen perfectly in time. Can we turn back the night? Stay in this street for me. Can we turn back the night? Stay in this street for me. Can we turn back the night? Same old places come alive. Wherever we are, feels like I'm seeing with new eyes. Even in the dark, let's go get lost. Just take my hand, ignore the cost. Forget the plan. I feel the hours ticking down. Wish I could turn it all around, but in my mind we're frozen perfectly in time. Can we turn back the night? Stay in this street for me. Can we turn back the night? Stay in this street for me. Can we turn back the night? Feels like I'm caught up in a trance. Can't come down all night.
What is good, Nimfam? Welcome back to another Team Help Ultimate Champion stream for Gameweek 162. With me, as always, is the fabulous SpeedyQ. How are you doing, buddy?
Very, very well. And yourself, Nim? I hope you had a great week, better than our game weeks after our previous discussion.
Yeah,
But yeah, looking forward to tomorrow's one, game week 162, to right any poor performances that we had.
yeah. I'm sporting the. I see you are too, sporting the old Arsenal after the win last night.
Very, very, very good week for us, I think. Strange how we set up against Man City in the 0-0 draw, but I think we went there potentially for the draw. We had a couple of opportunities on the break, but I'm quite happy with a 0-0 away from home. And then obviously with the little change squad last night, nice victory. Was really well done, especially seeing Emil Smith-Rowe. I think he got man of the match, so good to see him play basically the full game as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I see some really cool regulars in the chat. So welcome to you guys. Welcome Patrick, Midnight, Nazarat, HK. He knows why I call him that. Thinker. Hey everybody, Antonio. Welcome. Thank you all so much for joining. I really appreciate it. And Noah got a sub at the beginning of the stream, but I cannot tell you who that is. But welcome to the Nim fam, whoever you are. And with that, talking of Nimfam and the crew, I think we'll just delve in straight away to Nim's Easter Cup and the private league and announce our top 3 for game week 160. And that was a huge congratulations to third place Blimmer with a jumbo pack. Go Art seems to be a bit of a regular in winning my my leagues with the silver in second, and Naz with a gold in first place with 1,888 points. Well done, buddy. Everybody put some claps in the chat for those guys. Well done. I really loved this. Like, I really loved this league, Speedy. It was so much fun. I had a lot of fun over Easter playing it.
It's great to hear. You probably see I was nowhere even near the top 10. I had a very poor global league, but it's a nice thing to run these one-off private leagues and things like that, and we'll be sure to run them in the future as well. Congratulations to those three, as you mentioned, and yeah, Go Lots, if I'm not mistaken, has won something on the last 3 streams. So very well done. And you guys who are regular and stick with us and have faith with us, etc. Yeah, you can win.
Yes, absolutely. And with that, shall we get on with their chance to win the silver pack this week, Speedy? Do you want to tell them all about it?
Most definitely. So obviously the Elite Serin is back in full swing. We had a bit of a split game week in game week 160 and 161. So we're having quite a full game week in 162. So our question will be pertaining to the Elite Serin. Remember, drop your UC manager name and your answer in the chat. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Obviously, that's some of the parameters that you need to follow. The question is, who will be the top Elite Serin scorer for game week 162? So let's get some focus on our Norway League, which is back. It's obviously, as we mentioned last week, great to have them. We've made UC the home of the Elite Serin because we have all 16 clubs. We have Rosenborg and Viking, which weren't part of the deal from last season, and obviously the 3 newly promoted clubs as well. So that's fantastic and exciting news.
Yeah. Oh, I can't say Pellegrino. But yes, make sure you pop your UC username in the chat along with your answer to be entered for that. Like and subscribe. Brilliant. Okay, and don't forget to get any questions in, as we will do a Q&A at the end. You can either drop them in the comments here, or there is a thread on Discord as well, which some people have already given us some questions. Right then, let's recap on last week's stream and the tips and tricks on how our players got on in game week 160, please, Speedy.
Thanks very much, Nim. So we covered 3. We went for Declan Rice because of how he's been scoring on UC lately. Obviously, even with in mind, they were playing Man City. Unfortunately, due to Arsenal only having about, I think, 27% possession throughout the game, he only managed 82 base points, even with the clean sheet. So as a Gunner supporter, I'm happy with our team's application and how we set up. But obviously, it wasn't the best possession-wise to get a big score for Declan Rice. So a little fail on him, even though the result suits us Arsenal supporters. But look forward to him. He was rested last night against Luton. I think he only played a couple of minutes coming on as a substitute. So he'll be geared up for the Brighton match on the weekend. So someone to potentially still keep in your side. And as we mentioned previously, some of these mythics went for big amounts. So hopefully from this game week forward, he can start replaying all the investors in him. Then secondly, we covered our Norwegian league in game week 160. If you can recall, we only had the one game, which was Odd versus Haugesund. Ulrik Fredriksson, he was one of the epics I actually picked up on auction, I think for about $20 if I'm not mistaken.
Nice.
It was a great start to his season on Ultimate Champions, even without the clean sheet. As you can see, the score was 2-1. He still scored a base score of 153 points. His possessive and defensive stats were excellent. And if this is anything to go by, he will again have a very good, consistent UC scoring season ahead.
Yeah.
Last but not least, Barcelona, they continued their form, winning 1-0 However, our main man that I talked up so big, Robert Lewandowski,
It was
did
bound to happen.
nothing. He did nothing. He did nothing. And to sign it off, he was substituted in the 81st minute, just after getting a yellow card as well. So even though they played against Las Palmas, who had 10 men for most of the game, they could only get that one goal, and unfortunately, Robert didn't have any contributions in that regard. So just a 95-point base score. So in total, I think average, not wonderful, but not terrible either.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I could see that coming with lemon chopsticks after us really giving him large last week. Right then.
At least my calls on Arsenal and the Gunners have been quite good in all of these streams so far.
Fingers crossed. Hoping anyway, since I've got Declan Rice in a few this coming game week. All right, let's chat about how the teams got on.
So first we had Peterborough. They unfortunately lost to bottom of the log Carlisle. I really had the 3 points guaranteed for them. However, they ran into a Jay Mellish hat-trick. They were 3-0 down by the second half, I think in the 50th minute or something to that effect. Randall did pull one back. However, and there was potentially some signs of a comeback coming, but that did not happen. So very, very poor dropped points there. They did win midweek in Gameweek 161, but they need to be very careful. They are chasing those two automatic promotion spots in League One, and dropping points against the lower tier teams, etc., will not be good, especially with the last stretch of the season. So very important that they continue on their winning ways. Then we covered the Eliteserien, let's call it a derby because it was the first Eliteserien game of the UC season, Odd versus Haugesund. It was a great start, Haugesund's campaign. They won against Odd. They took the lead at halftime. Odd did equalize in the second half. But then cometh the hour, cometh the teenager. If you can recall, there was a question last week about which Norwegian player would you look out for? And remember, I mentioned a 18-year-old Ismail Sioni. He had a decent preseason. They brought him on with about 12 or 8 or 9 minutes to go, and he scored the winning goal. So a great cameo debut on UC. As I mentioned last week, he's not available in the game yet, but I'm sure he will be released soon. And as I mentioned last week, someone to really look at, see how he develops, and potentially getting a starting berth next week because of that winner. And then last but not least, once again, Barcelona, as I mentioned, they still continued their good recent form. Even though they were against 10 men and only won 1-0. Rapinha scored with Jehl Felix assist. They still 8 points behind Real Madrid with, I think, 8 or 9 games to play. So I don't know if they'll be able to pressure them too much, but they need to keep grinding to see if Real Madrid maybe does slip up for that La Liga title. Remember, Barcelona don't play again until they don't play tomorrow. They only play on the following weekend after their Champions League game against PSG. So keep tabs on that Champions League match, who their lineup was, how it went, to determine who you will potentially select for next weekend's game week.
Yeah, there's some big Champions League games coming up, aren't there? So yeah, you might want to keep an eye on those and check who's who's starting, who's been rested, all of that sort of stuff. So yeah, I I went all big on Lewandowski when I should have gone big on Rapinha because I've got him, haven't I? So yeah, it was one of those ones where I think Rapinha's been injured for a few weeks, hasn't he? So he was kind of just making his way back into the team. It's one of
Yeah,
them.
it's usually between him and Lamal, obviously, that gets that berth on the right hand
Yeah.
side. And yeah, he came up with a goal. Both great players to own in your collection. Just need to know when to play and when not to play.
Yeah, the $1 million question, that one. Amazing stuff. Well, with that, I think we ought to move on to what everyone is here for, the exciting Game Week 162. And I think, first of all, we'll chat about which teams to target, Speedy.
So the first one I've gone back to Scotland, Hibernian. They had a tough match and loss against Rangers. They'll be looking to get back onto winning ways as well. Remember, they are currently 7th, and the top 6 qualify for the championship rounds. I think there's only 2 fixtures left. They have 2 decent fixtures. They play St Johnstone this game week at home. So really looking for them to pick up 3 points, and then they would really need to get another 3 points in their final fixture. Dundee is 1 point ahead of them, sitting in that 6th championship round position. However, they have a game in hand on Hibernian. So very important game this weekend against St Johnstone. But I think Hibernian will get it over the line. Your athletes such as Joe Newell, William Fish, and Tony Yuan are 3 that are very, very consistent, and you can play them. And then another outstanding athlete, which we'll discuss a bit later, who's scoring very, very well, is Miziani Maulida. I hope I pronounced that correctly. So if you own him, there's not too many about. There's not many on the marketplace. He's potentially one to have in your lineup this weekend as well. Then I wanted to focus on 2 other Elite Serin clubs, because they are now obviously back on Ultimate Champions and our Summer League has started. Molde, they are the early pace setters in the Elite Serin. They had a comprehensive 4-0 victory against Strong Godset. They bossed the game. I think they had over 62% possession, had 19 shots, 10 were on target, and they obviously scored the 4 unanswered goals. Last season, they only managed 5th place. So they will be trying to challenge with the likes of Bode, Bran, and potentially Rosenberg for the title. Remember last year it was basically a 1-horse race with Bode running away with it by about 7 or 8 points at the end of the day. So let's hope we have a tighter season. They play Humcum in Game Week 162, so this offers another opportunity to clinch one. Humcum, yeah, it's amazing. I must actually do some research on what it potentially means. But yes, that is a very, very unique football club name, I must say. Players from Molde that you can potentially select: Kasper Owen, Matthias Lovik, Christian Eriksen. They had very, very, very good games, and they are consistent scorers. And then Eric Helstedt and Mats Molledal are 2 athletes to look out for. They're youngsters, and especially when the new Moldy season cards are released. So those 2 are not out yet, but they will come soon. And then last but not least, Bran, another Elite Serin team, had a similar performance, 1-4-2. They did concede 2 though. They played against the newly promoted Fredrikstad this weekend, who lost 2-0 in their first outing. So potentially a good game to score points. The likes of Bart Finn, Joachim Holtvedt, he actually scored as a defender, scored 2 goals. 1 was a penalty, so potentially he's on penalty duties as well. And then Nicholas Jensen and Orne Selland Hegbo are 2 youngsters to keep an eye on. And remember, Orne has not been released in UC yet, so wait for those announcements of the Elite Serin clubs being released, and have a look if you can grab them on auction or other impacts.
Already questions coming in. How soon? Question mark.
I'll tell you now, there are 2 potentially coming tomorrow.
Ooh,
So
there you go. Exclusive.
The team is, and don't hold me to this, but the team is really planning to drop tomorrow. Hopefully it's early before the game week starts. Some people in the Discord have ideas of which 2 clubs they might be, because some of the assets can be seen on the marketplace. So for you guys who haven't read Discord, go and check it out, or go into the marketplace and see if you can find them.
Yeah. Welcome, Rob, to the Nim fam. Thank you very much for subscribing. Cool. Right. So I think we had one more team.
No, teams are done.
Oh, we're done. We're done. Oh, look at
Yeah,
that. You just whizzing away there.
it's just the athletes now.
Just the athletes. Right. Let's rock on with them bad boys then. Top players,
Fantastic.
162.
So the Hibernian gentleman I mentioned a bit earlier, Miziano Mayolida. He's on loan from Hertha Berlin. I think he joined them in January. He's got 6 goals and 1 assist in his 11 appearance, which is basically he's shown his credentials. He's also scored in each of his last 4 outings for Hibs in the Premiership. He even scored against Rangers in their 3-1 defeat. As I mentioned, they have a home tie against St. Johnston. So yeah, he should be good on scoring again, and maybe scoring a couple more than 1 in the game. And as I mentioned, he will be key if Hibs can push for that top 6 position when it gets to the end of the season. Then on to Eliteserien. Once again, Casper Oven, 24-year-old defender, started off his Eliteserien campaign with a massive, listen to this, 261 base points on Ultimate Champions. The clean sheet and the assist that he got did help him tremendously. There are not many of his cards minted, so he will be an ideal differential, obviously until the moldy new season cards are released. Going on their first match of the season, they have a favourable away fixture against our unique team, Humcum, and a clean sheet and maybe another attacking return is a huge possibility. And then lastly and not least, this is the player who I think will feature in one of our questions that we have from our community, but Bart Finn. In 2023, he scored 16 times. He was the second top goal scorer in the Eliteserien. Obviously, we know who was top, Mr. Amal Pellegrini. He also assisted 12 times. So that's 16 goals, 12 assists in 29 matches last season. He's already kicked off the season with a goal in his first game. He's prolific in front of goal, and those 2023 stats I mentioned show that he contributes 2 goals as well. So I can see this weekend a massive score coming in for him. And as mentioned earlier in the stream, he is a captain option. So he's a captain option to make your captain, and there's potentially quite a few goals lined up for him this weekend if everything goes to plan.
Mark says, is that Ovan sneak peek means we have mold picks?
No, we don't. And that's why I mentioned earlier that there's only, because if I'm not mistaken, there are a couple of him out, but they are not released yet. And I know Mark's been asking for Moldy to be released, I think, since last week. We've done a couple of others like the Rosenborg Viking, Christian Soot, and one of the other S teams, Sandalfjord, that's it. So Moldy, I can't say when it's going to be, but the team is trying to get them out as fast as possible so that there's no delays, etc. So keep a lookout at the announcements that we will release pertaining to it.
Absolutely. All right then. Well, you alluded to it a little bit earlier, the questions that we've got from the community. So again, guys, if you have any while we're discussing these ones, then just drop them in the chat. This is a bit we love to kind of get in touch with the community and answer some of your questions, that sort of vibe. So this is the chill out bit. We'll start off with Kunka, and he asked, Eliteserien favorite team. Have you got a favorite team?
I think from last season, because last season was the first season that I started to follow, obviously with them being introduced into the game. So I'm going to take the easy one and say Boda. The reason being is because of their not just because they won the league, but because of their style of play. They're very attacking in nature. I also enjoy the yellow and black kits that they wear. I think it's very, very funky. So that will be my one. But I will tell everyone that since our stream last week, I've got a little soft spot. I don't know why, but for Haugesund. So let's just see how Haugesund, I'm not saying they'll win or anything, but let's see how they perform this season. But I do hope that it is a title race like we have in the current English Premier League, where you have your Moldies, your Brands, your Boders, etc., all going at it, and it's close to the wire right until the end.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I mean, it's hard not to say Bodleian, right? But I do quite like Bran. I found them quite interesting last season, and was interested in seeing how their players do. I wouldn't say I'm massively invested in one club just yet, which I quite like. That's what UC has given me. It's given me that kind of scope to enjoy lots of the different clubs and lots of the different players. Um, so yeah, they're probably my ones. Um, okay, we had a question asking how many personas you got. Well, I got a big fat zero, unfortunately, because I completely missed that boat. However, Mr. Speedy over there, how many you got, buddy?
I I have triplets, and they all ladies. So
All
I'm changing
ladies.
my name from SpeedyQ to Speedy Queen.
I feel like you need some sort of move to go with that, like Speedy
Yeah,
Queen, like a
they're
cube
not
or
the
something.
highest. They aren't the highest rarities, etc. I think my lady with the Pac-Man earrings, etc., is the highest at about 4,000, or in the 4,000s. But I enjoy all three of them. They're all different to each other. They're all diverse to each other, and they're very clean. So I'm currently holding, but guys, if you're listening, I am looking for a straw hat persona
Mhm.
to replace Speedy Q and Speedy Gonzalez with his hat. So if anyone's listening, reach out.
Oh, yeah. And if anyone, sees a card they like in my collection and feels like doing a trade because, I'm not sure I have the base price for one, then, just reach out. You never know. Depending on who it is, obs. Right, okay. We did have a Giannis. When is Gameweek 104 getting removed?
It is in discussion. I know it's taken a long time from the beginning of the season, but I can assure you it will be resolved, or excluded before the end of the season. We have actually last week started discussions on resolving it, so hopefully very very soon. But I'll keep you guys posted on that.
Okay. We have Uno asks who you got as Elite Syrian top goal scorer. I mean, does
I
that
would I
pertain
would
to our questions this week?
Yeah, I would potentially say the front runner is maybe Bart Finn, because he was the second top goal scorer last season, and Pellegrini has obviously left. However, in Boda, August Mikkelsen, a youngster, he did score in his first game. He can maybe have a great season if the new players within Boda gel, and give him great supply. He could be up there. And then another one is Lasse Nordas, could be another interesting one to have a look at. But I think the front runner at this stage is Bart Finn. Guys who know Norway better than me, feel free to drop your comments in the chat as well.
Olsen, just because I have him and I want him to do well this week. So that's where I'm going. Okay, if you could have one Elite Syrian player for each position, who would you have?
Striker, Bart Finn. I just think consistency. He's done it before. Midfielder, Albert Gronbach from Boda, young 22-year-old. I think he got 9 goals, 7 assists last season, so you can only go from strength to strength. Defender, Joachim Solfet. He is great defensively. He scores goals. It looks like after the first game week, he's potentially on penalty duties. And then my keeper is unique, and this is because of the saves. I think he plays for Hamkam, Marcus Sandberg. I like him because I've looked at his scores, and yes, he potentially concedes, but he seems to make a lot of saves. In the game in the beginning, the first game of the season, I think he made 8 saves and scored a great score. So I think my differential will be my goalkeeper, where I say Marcus Sandberg. There are obviously better options out there, but that's just how I'm feeling.
On that note, since you mentioned him, I will jump to WFT's Alt Champ question: Emil Breivik or Albert Gromberg? Which one you going for?
I would say Albert Grombeck, only because of what he did last season. They really very very similar, and they both score well. Grombeck did outscore him by 1 or 2 goals and a couple of assists on either side. I didn't see. I didn't see Breivik start. I think he was on the bench in the last game, so I would wait until he starts and see how he performs in the beginning of the season. So for my bet, Albert Grombeck's already up and running. First game, I think he got 160 base points score. So that would be my selection out of those two.
Yeah, I'd probably go Grombeck as well, just because I own him. So, we had one in the chat from FPL Thinker, and it's your usual Speedy's asking any low cap players who can do well this week.
I know it comes every week, but I've got one. I'm just sad I don't have many. Paul Knoyle from Stockport. He's just come back. I think he's played the last 2 games. I can't think of what his cap is, but I'm sure his cap is under 100. He was injured for a little bit, so he's come back. He's played the last. He hasn't played the full 90, but has played about 70 odd and 60 odd minutes in both games. Scored very well. I think he had an assist as well in one of his previous 2 outings. And if he gets a full 90 minutes, we know Stockport is top of the log. Could be a good outing for him. I've actually put him. Maybe I shouldn't tell anyone. No, I have put him in one of my teams.
You don't have to say which one. You don't have to.
It's my differential for the game week. You can also have a look at Bart Myers. I know he didn't play the last 2, so I'm not sure. From Petrol, they play voluntary. So if he starts, his cap might have reduced a little bit. But those are the ones offhand that I can think. I could say Petrilla, but unfortunately Blymer or Mark will know more if Petrilla will start. He had a cracking start to the season. Unfortunately, got injured and is slowly, obviously, getting back into the team and not getting as regular minutes of late. So yeah, that's the ones that I have for you.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Myers comes back into it. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Hazi has asked, what's your favorite purchase you ever made on UC? You go with yours, and I'll have a little think on mine.
I'm gonna go for 2 that have given me solid return on investments. And remember, we're talking back in the day from champ to Una, so I won't know exactly what the percentage in dollar is. But Himad Abdelli, I picked up for 1,300 champ at the time. This was a long time ago, and I sold him recently for 7,200 Una. And then Aruna Sangante, these are both mythics, by the way. Aruna Sangante from Le Havre, purchased him for 2,000 champ. Sold him for 11,000. I can't remember if this is champ or Uno, if we were still in champ when I sold him. So those are the 2 purchases. My best sales, I'm jumping over here, sorry, Nim, is potentially John Swift and Jefferson. It was the 2 mythics I ever got in my first gold pack that I opened on UC, and I sold them both at that time for, I think, 6,000 odd and 1,000 champ. And that started my progression of, as I mentioned last week, only using about $100 to build where my collection is at the moment by reinvesting. And I looked at UC Helper a little earlier. Obviously, there's a lot of other permutations in between, but my total sales to date is over $15,000.
Nice.
My total purchases is $8,000, and my realized profit, which I'm not saying is exact, is about $7,000. So that's not bad in my whining and dining with players and packs and trading and purchasing and things like that. So quite happy with that.
Yeah, I think I obviously don't have the history that that Speedy has. One of my best purchases, I think, or one of my favorite purchases, no longer with the UC, but I got a lot of use out of him, and I bought him for very cheap, and he ended up doing very, very well. And that is Christopher Barr. He did extremely well for me, and he was one of my first like major purchases with UC, and he did very, very well for me when he was in the game. So he's probably like one of my favorite. Not only that, I'm Welsh and Bar sheep, you know. Yeah, you can put them all together. So yeah,
And it's a bit of deja vu, eh? If you remember when you started when we had the summer leagues,
yeah,
and we've nearly gone full circle. Yes, we've unfortunately lost three of the leagues, which means a lot of our players we had to burn and boost so that we could get a little back. But you're in a similar position now where you're going to have to now rebuy for Norway.
yes, yeah. I have a lot of investment into summer to start happening. I think just with a little chat with yourself earlier, I think I'll be saving up some of my MGC and maybe focusing towards a gold pack of some kind if I can towards the Elite Syrian. I think that's probably where I'm going to go with my rather than investing at the moment in any more UC1, what with that coming to an end now for the summer. So that's probably where I'm going to go with my collection a little bit. But who knows what's around the corner? But it is true. We have come full circle, and I'm having to kind of invest in summer cards again. But I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I've learned so much, and I still continue to learn. And I think that's why I really enjoy the game, because I'm somebody who's always loved learning things, and I feel like there's always something new to learn with this game on a regular, so it's a lot of fun.
Hundred
Um,
percent.
okay, we did have one from Patrick. Would you play Stamankovic or Lekovic this weekend?
Goalkeepers. Are they goalkeepers?
Yeah, goalkeepers.
What
Why?
was the first?
Um,
Yeah.
Stamenkovic, Stamenkovic. Whilst you're doing that, Sabanis said, my favourite purchase today is Nielsen Epic for $20. Oh, nice. Nice. Let me know in the chat if you've got some good
I
ones.
did. I did pick up. Going back to that, I did pick up a mythic. Sin Ben Youssef. He's not playing, or he hasn't been playing for his new club this season, but last season, where someone put it up for $18 for a mythic. So yeah, that was a quite lucky, and luckily no one mentioned it or no one brought it up as it being a mistake in Discord. Otherwise, we obviously return it. So I was very lucky
That
in
person's there now going, it was a
in that
mistake.
regard.
It
No,
was
hopefully he's not on the stream.
a mistake. Only you could get that lucky. Right.
It, the Lekovic, is it Stojan Lekovic?
It doesn't say. He's only got surnames, I'm afraid. Are they same position? Because if so, I would assume I would assume it was, if it is. And Nazrat
Yeah, I would
said,
I would probably go for Lekovic, playing at home, and he's had some decent scores. What I can see on UC at the moment, quite consistent, and a home game, he should make some saves, and there's potential there for a clean sheet. Yeah, they play Spartak at home.
Nazarat says, did buy these names. Kransniki Epic for $5, which was a great buy.
Well done. That's Ernal Krasnicki
Oh, I did say it well. That's good.
from CFR, eh? If I'm not mistaken, am I right? CFR or FCSB? I'm getting confused now.
Both Mark and Patrick says Lekovic from Rednicki.
Oh, so I was all right.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah. So your answer there is from Speedy. He'd go Lekovic. Okay, we had another in our chat. If you could remove one athlete from UC, who would it be and why? Ooh,
Wow.
wow.
Well, probably if you didn't own them, it would probably be your perma captains like your Palacios or your Declan Rice. I know Declan Rice hasn't performed since joining, but if you didn't have them, you would probably be aiming at certain of those athletes to get them out of the game.
That's a good point. Up until a few weeks ago, I probably would have said Jack Clark because he's been a right troll for me. But since he got injured, I can't do that to him. But yeah, it'd probably be somebody who's trolled me quite a lot. You know, somebody who like probably Jonas Wind. Johnny will love that one since I almost
There we go.
purchased it from him and didn't get around to it in the end. And then he went off on like a massive run of games. Thinker says his favourite buy is Jennings Epic for $10. So love that. Okay. Hazzy has given us our random question of the week. And we love them because, you know, it's always fun just to get to know us a little bit better. So feel free to answer these in the chat as well, guys. If you eat meat, and you could only eat one meat for the rest of your life, Speedy, what would it be? Oh,
It has to be one.
That's a true
Look,
South African there.
I'm from South Africa. So braaiing is like a religion basically. And when we braai, whether it's pork, beef, lamb, chicken, it's on the fire. So I love steak, which is obviously beef, but in South Africa, we've got lamb chops, and you obviously get different cuts of chops, and you get a lamb loin. We call it a slang word, which is number nines, because if you look at the loin chop, it looks like the number nine. And that is one of the most beautiful cuts of meat. And even though it's smaller than a steak, if you eat 4 or 5 of them, it fills you up.
You have a plateful.
I would say lamb. I can also just to tell you a bit about us as well. We've got a couple of places like Oudtshoorn, etc., where they are big ostrich farmers, and I've actually had ostrich steak and ostrich burgers and things like that before as well. So just some interesting information. But
Yeah.
lamb, it is.
See, I'm so tempted to say lamb because it's my favourite. But to eat your favourite every day for the rest of your life, it could quite easily become not your favourite, right? So I'm trying to think more versatile. Because, I mean, I like lamb, but I like it roasted and I like lamb chops and things like that. But I'm not sure, like, lamb pasta and, like, lamb... Well,
Lamb,
lamb curry works.
lamb curry,
I
lamb
don't know
stew.
now. I don't know. I see. I
But
was gonna say steak, but you might have pulled me over to the lamb.
but even on your side, chicken might be the best bet because it's versatile
It's
in various different
versatile.
dishes.
It
Yeah.
is, but I know I would get bored too easily. I already, if I have it a couple of times in a week, I'm a bit like, But I guess like you could do sandwiches and stuff with it, couldn't you? Anyway, he did say, alternatively, what's our favourite bagel filling? So, do you want to go for that? Do you eat bagels?
You go. We've got a place here that makes the most divine bagels. It's funnily enough, it's called Jack's Bagels, and I've been there a couple of times. But to tell you the filling that I prefer, I will leave that to you, Nim.
Okay. I think mine has to be. So I'm dairy free, so I can't have it, but those in the UK will know that Philadelphia do a dairy-free version of it, so it's fine. So I can have it. So it's like Philly cream cheese, probably, and bacon. I think would be in mine. Yeah, that's probably what I'd go for. Maple bacon, probably. It's all very healthy round here, isn't it?
Yeah,
Protein.
of course.
What about you then, Speedy?
You know what I would like. I'm trying to think back on the actual toppings that they had, but
What about
they
like
are
some
really
Parma
really
ham or something like
amazing.
that? Yeah.
Yeah, all of that. I think I'm very easy when it comes to food. I enjoy eating. So if you give me something that's got a decent filling, then I'll eat it.
And there you go. I mean, I think that's a great way to end the stream. Before we do that, HK says that their favorite buy is a Romanian player for $200 in 2022. And Nazareth says chicken is good. You can make lots of things with it. I mean, you can make lots of things with chicken. It's so true. So yeah. And I think that's us all wrapped up. I think that's everything. So I really appreciate it, guys. We've had a bumper viewership today. It's been really good to have you all in. And do pop a like on your way out. It all helps towards the stream. And do make sure you've got a few more minutes while I put it onto the stream ending soon, that you make sure that you get your entry in for that silver pack competition, which would be the top scorer for Elite Serum. So yeah, you've got a few more minutes to get that in to the chat now while I put us on the stream ending soon. So thank you all so much for joining myself and Speedy. It's goodbye from me. Goodbye from Speedy.
Hi guys.
And
Have a good game week.
Yeah, have a great game week, and we will catch you soon. Bye, guys.
Feels like I'm caught up in a trance. Can come down all night. The city never stood a chance. With you by my side, it's all ours. So don't second guess. Let down your guard. Just take a chance. I feel the hours ticking down. Wish I could turn it all around, but in my mind we're frozen perfectly in time. Can we turn back the night? Stay in this street Can we turn back the night? Stay in this street Can we turn back the night? Same old places come alive. Wherever we are, feels like I'm seeing with new eyes. Even in the dark, let's go get lost. Just take my hand, ignore the cost. Forget the plan, I feel the hours ticking down. Wish I could turn it all around, but in my mind we're frozen perfectly in time. Can we turn back the night? Stay in this street Can we turn back the night? Stay in this street Can we turn back the night? Feels like I'm caught up in a trance. Can come down all night. The city never stood a chance. With you by my side, it's all ours. second guess. Let down your guard. Just take a chance. I feel the hours ticking down. Wish I could turn it all around, but in my mind we're frozen perfectly in time. Can we turn back the night and stay in this dream on repeat? Can we turn back the night and stay in this dream on repeat? Can we turn back the night? Same old places come alive. Wherever we are, feels like I'm seeing with new eyes. Even in the dark, let's go get lost. Just take my hand.